Yo, what is up guys, Grim here, and welcome to week 3 of Chaos Watch, where we tell you how you guys can make the most currency possible. So without further ado, let's dive straight into it and get into the bossing section, where you guys are going to be able to make money no matter what kind of a character you have. So if you're looking to slay some bosses for a bit of currency, you're in luck, so there's quite a few options available to us in week 3. So after some further data testing, we now actually have the drop rates on the new hidden Maven invitations. Those are the ones that allow you to slay the Breach Lord, kind of 5-way fight or 4-way fight or whatever. And we now actually know the drop rate of these. It's about 20-ish% off of any breach stone of any level. So what this allows you to do is essentially make a ton of money farming low-level breach stones or mid-level breach stones as a new player. So if you're a character that can, slay Ash and, get through that, and you can do, about 10 of them an hour, you're almost at an exalt per hour. Not too bad in terms of investment. And the rate of drops is high enough that you're pretty much guaranteed to make your money back. And the investment is incredibly low. And you can invest 15C, get 10 stones, and make a pretty good profit in the end, as long as you sell that invitation. And generally, you can sell those pretty quick. So if you're a low-level character, you don't have a lot of gear, and you can beat Ash, on a normal Ash stone, buy some Ash stones, run them, and you'll get some sick Maven invitations to sell off to some other high-level players. It is fairly comparable to, low-level mapping, about an exalt per hour, with kind of like low-budget builds, so pretty good. Ulnatul is still pretty good to farm as well if you're looking to gamble on a little bit of a higher end stone for the shield. Definitely nice there. So Breach, definitely good for lower tier, low investment kind of characters. And if you're looking to get started with boss killing, it's not a bad place to start. Moving on, if you've got a little bit more gear under your belt, Shaper is still guaranteed profit. You can just go in there, slay him, and you're basically 100% guaranteed to make money. You cannot lose money doing Shaper. It's actually impossible, and you'll pocket all the uniques and a nice little profit just selling the fragment itself. So very, very nice there. Let's move on to Elder. So Elder is actually the most profitable traditional boss to run right now if you sell the Watcher's Eyes unidentified. So these stats here don't show the unidentified sale, but I have done a quick calculation here. You can see here that if you sell the Watcher's Eye for normal Elder, if you're running Gaze into the Abyss talent, which is on the talent tree just over here, if you have access to this talent here, Gaze into the Abyss, which buffs the drop rate of Watcher's Eye, that you will actually make about 43C profit on average over your run. So you're going to have to drop a few Watcher's Eyes for that to start evening out, but 43C profit is pretty good per kill, as long as you sell those Watcher's Eyes unidentified. Pretty nice. Uber Elder. Uber Elder is a little bit more profitable than normal Elder, but in terms of the actual fight length and, how to access it and all that kind of stuff like that, even with Gaze into the Abyss, he's only about 51C profit versus the 43C profit from normal Elder. So I just run normal Elder. He's faster to run, he's easier to run, and I think it's going to be pretty good there. The only reason I would go for Uber Elder over normal Elder is if you're running the feared invitations, because that will actually save you some time. But that's a more advanced tactic, which is kind of out of the scope of this video. Moving on, okay, Guardians, here we go. As I mentioned with Breach Lords, we now do know quite a lot of the drop rates on the invitations due to some testing. And we can see here that Guardians become completely insane when you factor in the drop rate of their invitations here. You can see the drop rates. It's about a 25-ish% chance based on current data to drop their invitation. So if I had to guess, anywhere between 20 to 25% chance to drop these invitations from all their respective bosses sounds about right. And you just have to keep slaying them, and they're worth quite a lot of money right now. The Shaper one, for example, is 38 Chaos, and you can see here this completely pumps up the value of just farming Guardians, and it's completely a viable strategy. So if you're looking to make some money and you can farm Hydra, preferably with the anointment or the ascendancy here, Guardian's Aid. If you can spec into Guardian's Aid and farm like a Hydra or farm like a Minotaur map or Phoenix really, really quickly, you're actually going to make an insane amount of currency right now. You'll make 15 Chaos on average, per map you do, if you killed nothing but the boss in the entire map. That is actually pretty crazy, and you can do like, if you did 10 of these per hour, that's very conservative in my opinion. And then you sold the other things, 10 times, that's 150 Chaos divided by 82. That's 1.8 exalts per hour just from slaying Minotaur on repeat. And that's not including anything else in the map. No leap mechanics, no rituals, no nothing. So Guardians right now, if you've got a quick build that can do it, very, very profitable indeed. And I would highly recommend everyone check it out. and sell those invitations off. They're pretty quick to sell, and you're gonna make some pretty good cash. All right, moving on. Let's talk about Bestiary. So Bestiary, we mentioned in our last week's video, is still, again, similar to Shaper, guaranteed money. If you slay Venomous on the higher end, he's a bit spooky with the Chaos damage, you're guaranteed money. The key is 12C, the Beast is 12C, you're going to be able to get in there, get a 100% chance of the Beast, and then get all of the loot for free. You can see here that the prices are still pretty good on some of the uniques. You're essentially guaranteed to get like a 15C drop 100% of the time. So, you're going to profit 15C to 20C every single time you do it. Not too bad there at all. Sakawala is also profit, but, he's a little bit less worth doing right now compared to Venomous, which is, kind of like you're going to get 15C every single time you do it, which is really nice. All right, moving on. Let's go to a bit more of an advanced thing here. This is going to be for more late game players, but if you can actually farm the invitations, we've got the only information we have right now is on the formed invitation. If you can farm the formed invitation here, you can actually make a little bit more money on top of what you were already doing in that Guardian farm. So the way you do this is you'd switch it up. Instead of just farming one of the easiest Guardians, which your build is the best at doing, you'd farm all 4 of them, and then you'd do one of the Maven invitations you either dropped or you'd buy it from another player, and you'll be able to net even more profit, making the Guardian farming strategy even more profitable, which is really, really nice. Whether this is better than just doing more and more Guardians remains to be seen, but you can see the profit margins here are pretty good, and all of these drops are actually almost guaranteed as well. If we take a look, you've got a really high chance at getting a fragment. You're pretty much guaranteed to get at least 1 orb of unmaking. You've got a pretty much 100% chance to drop half a Maven's Writ. It doesn't quite look like that, but it's basically guaranteed to drop you 5 splinters as long as you're allocating the invitation to 70% quantity or higher, which is super duper nice. And that's pretty much, that's the go. That's how you're making your money from these. And I think that they're very, very profitable right now. And, it's looking pretty good. All right, let's move on to the mapping section now. Now that we've covered bosses, what's going on for mapping? So right now, there's a few different strategies that you can adopt for mapping, which are kind of the prominent money makers. Of course, there's the tried and true Legion and New Vestia. Definitely one of the best mapping strategies if you can break out Legions. We know it's good. It's still good. Nothing's changing. It's going to be good all league long. Very, very nice there. Even with the dropping price of emblems, it's still fantastic because most of the money was from raw currency anyway, and it was very, very nice. All right, moving on. Valors Rest. So I would actually say probably if I had to pick an area that is the most powerful area out of the entire Atlas, it would be Valors Rest. There's just so much good stuff over here that it's completely insane. So you have 3 different options that you can go down for Valors Rest, and you can pretty much pick all of them if you're willing to compromise. So right now, Betrayal, if you guys don't know, that's the Jun Master, is incredibly profitable still. You can actually see that it's probably more profitable than last week. If you buy it super duper cheap Chayula Breachstones right now at 24C, and you use Jun Master missions to do Betrayal, and you get It That Fled to rank 3, in that Betrayal, and you get him in research, you can flip the Chayula stones from normal to pure, netting you a 65C profit, which is incredibly good. And you can get up to 2 of those per round of like kind of It That Fled you do. And the best place to do that in is in fact Valors Rest. So you can see here with this node, Test of Loyalty, it's going to significantly speed up the speed that you can kind of do Betrayal encounters. You probably want to look into a Betrayal guide if you can to kind of understand this mechanic more. But Betrayal is incredibly lucrative, and every time you successfully get It That Fled ready to go, you're essentially going to net about 2 exalts, which is really, really nice profit. And it's going to be really good. In terms of other things that you want to do in Valors Rest, I would recommend alching maps and running them just straight up alched with 1 Metamorph Scarab in them. You probably want to use a Gilded Metamorph Scarab for extra value, as I mentioned last week. And you want to get rid of, you want to take advantage of Repeated Experiment, and Intrinsic Darkness is going to give you a bit of chance to kind of get a little one naturally if you don't want to use the Scarab, but really high yield is also very good. It's going to double the amount of samples you get for Tane, and you can get really good amount of catalysts. And speaking of catalysts, catalysts are a hot topic right now. No one seems to be farming Metamorph, and as a result, they're incredibly expensive still. So if you come over here, you can see Fertile Catalyst, 4.5 chaos per, and you can drop multiple of these from a single Metamorph. Very, very nice. Prismatic Catalyst, still 3 chaos. Very, very crazy. And until these prices go down, Metamorph in Valors Rest, combined with Harbingers and the opportunity to potentially go for Betrayal as well, makes it one of the #1 zones for farming if you've got a bit of game knowledge under your belt to make sure you can take advantage of those Betrayal encounters. In terms of what kind of point allocation I'd recommend, I'd probably spec out of High Yield here and keep repeated experiments, and then spec into Test of Loyalty if you wanted to take advantage of Betrayal. So Valors Rest, a fantastic option. Next up, if you want to kind of go on a bit of a crafting spree and also make a bit of cash on the side, maybe sell some crafts, you can also look into Hayward Hamlet. So I do have a guide on how to juice up your Hayward Hamlet if you're looking to get more harvest action, but in general, Hayward Hamlet is a fantastic area for crafters because you're able to, of course, as I mentioned, get a lot of harvest, which is going to be really, really lucrative. It's one of the best lead mechanics for making money if you're able to sell the crafts on the Discord server, the Forbidden Trove. It's definitely worth looking into, but also because people are now discovering that the essence nodes are actually incredibly powerful when combined with corruption mechanics. So the way essences kind of work is that you have an essence guaranteed in every single one of your maps with this node here in Hayward Hamlet, and the higher tier maps you run, the higher tier essences you're going to get. And at a kind of breakpoint in Hayward Hamlet, you're essentially going to get 1 tier off maximum sometimes, which is really, really good. Now, 1 tier off maximum is actually upgraded to maximum with amplified here, which is really, really nice. Not only is it going to upgrade some to maximum, but it'll upgrade all the ones close to maximum up a tier as well. And then what we do is we actually corrupt it further with a remnant of corruption, and that's going to juice it even further. Essentially, the end goal here is that you're going to run through the map with these nodes on and corrupt all of the essences and hope that you get deafening essences. And deafening essences actually sell for a pretty good amount. You also have a chance to get some corrupted essences, which, can be worth, 5 or 6 chaos. This one's worth a lot of money. Some of these are worth 2C, some of them are worth like 5C, some of them are worth nothing. You get a pretty big mixed bag, but a lot of these are worth multiple chaos orbs, and if you amass a large amount of them, you'll actually be able to sell these for a higher premium. And if you're running a lot of Hayward Hamlet maps anyway, it doesn't actually slow you down to run these essence nodes, and you can make a nice little bit of money on the side while you're farming harvest. So super duper nice. Definitely an area for more advanced players, but if you've got the knowledge, definitely go for it. You can actually make quite a bit of currency there. Many exalts per hour is my guess, and it's a lot of fun to do that kind of style as well. So what else we got? We have on the list here, the last one up is Glenage Cairn. So let's take a look at Glenage Cairn. This is primarily going to be for incursion farming. Now that we're into kind of later in the league, people are starting to look for double corruption chambers, and that is a lot of money. So right now, people are buying double corruption chambers for about 1 exalt on the Forbidden Trove, the big commerce Discord that you can kind of go and check out. And you can sell those, pretty much instantly for that 1 exalt, which is really, really nice. In addition to that, you can still flip sacrificial items. As we can see here, if we go to incursion flips, there's still really good margins on some of these. You can, make double your money, well over that on some of these items. It's pretty much, there's an item for everyone at every price point. If you want to go for maximum value, you can get an exalt worth of profit. There's everything there though. You can check it out, and you can get that from the tier 3 sacrificial chamber. So with that, combining that with the corruption chamber, you can make quite a lot of money farming Glenage Cairns. With incursion, which is pretty nice. If you spec into the incursion nodes, very, very good. So those are the kind of mapping strategies that I'd recommend. In terms of just raw currency per hour and zoom blast, I'd go with Valors Rest probably and New Bestiary. If you're looking to get into some master missions, though, you can also spec into Betrayal in Valors Rest, and also go check out Incursion in Glenage Cairn. And if you're a crafting mastermind, you probably want to get into Hayward Hamlet. So that's kind of mapping. Let's finish it off with a few economy things. If you're looking to kind of get and dip your toe into some flipping or some conversion stuff like that, we now do have some new stuff on the site which might help you out. So in terms of flipping, what does this mean? Well, it means buying an item generally for cheap and then doing something to it and then selling it on. Sometimes you don't have to do anything to it, but in this case, that's the easiest way to make sure you guarantee that you're going to make some money, and I'm going to give you guys an example. So right here, right now, the Pandemonious, apparently it costs 83 chaos. This is a breach amulet to buy it, and then once you use a blessing on it, it becomes worth 108 chaos. So right now, let's take a look. So we got some halcyons here. There's one here for 79, one here for 90. A Blessing of Toll is about 1 chaos. And then once you use the Blessing of Toll, it becomes the Pandemonious. And you can see here it sells for significantly more. This is called a flip by the PoE community. And it is how a lot of people make money. And you can see that you'll have a number of things that you can net some profit on. There's stuff like divination cards flips, there's betrayal blessing flips, but this is a good one to get started on. The thing with flips though is the more people that do it, the less money you'll make. So now that I've pointed that one out, it probably won't be too profitable, but you can poke around the website and I'm sure you'll find some more. This is particularly potent with prophecies, and this one has pretty much guaranteed margins in it because you have to complete a little quest to be able to turn one item into another. It's very similar to blessings, but instead of using a blessing instantly, you use a prophecy, you go do a quest, and it turns into a different item. And you can see here the margins on a lot of these are fairly reasonable. So if you're a new player and you just want to kind of make a bit of cash real quick, you could consider, investing, 3 or 4C into like one of these prophecy things, and trying to sell the outcome on. I'd probably recommend the best ones to get started with are Windshriek and Frostferno. Asenath's Chant is also really good. Those are the 3 which I've really sought after. Hero's Demise is also a good one. Just be careful that you don't buy an item and flip it into one which doesn't sell very quickly, because then you might be stuck waiting for a day or 2 for it to sell. But all that is pretty much going to be this week's Chaos Watch. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed, and if you like the site, definitely consider supporting us here on Patreon. We have a lot of really cool ideas for the future, and if you're interested in supporting the site, we would much appreciate it, and we'll be able to bring you tons more content in the future. So with all that said, hope you guys have enjoyed. I'll catch you next week for more currency making action, and until then, cheers.